All right, let us be live. Okay. I know, right? Did you arrange this building and all? Hear ye, hear ye. Order in the poetry court. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Glennis Redmond. I'm the Poet Laureate of Greenville, and some of you I know and some of you I don't, but I just want to say happy Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Happy 14th day of Black History Month. And welcome to the Poetry Society of South Carolina workshop today. We are so excited to have Jaki Shelton Green,
Yay.
Who is the Poet Laureate of North Carolina, professor at Duke. She teaches workshops not just stateside, but internationally. We are so fortunate to have her. I cannot reiterate that enough, that we are so fortunate to learn from her, to sit with her. She is a woman of words. I'm going to do I hope you're staying for the reading. I'll do a full formal bio. I don't want to take her time because she has a lot to share with us. Please just sit, absorb, write, create, be open to what she is bringing to us today, because in Greenville, we are fortunate today to have this wisdom. So I want us to give her a large Greenville welcome.
Thank you, Glennis. Thank you, Amy, for all of this coordination back and forth to make this happen. I really appreciate it. And for all of your many acts of kindness to make sure that my visit, that my stay in Greenville has been lovely. So thank you both. And thank you all for showing up. It's just enough to show up. We don't have to do anything else. You know, and in this season of uncertainty, showing up is almost enough. So I appreciate you all showing up this morning. But we're going to do more and show up. We're actually going to do some writing. How many people took me up on the assignment and actually came with artifacts or any primary sources? One person? 2 people? Y'all missed that?
Yeah. Well, it went off. It was on the website.
Yeah, it was on the website, the workshop overview.
Yeah.
Anywho, it's okay.
You can give them time to run that in there.
Oh, this always happens. So
Oh.
sometimes nobody comes with anything. It's quite okay.
What was the exact assignment?
Workshop participants are invited. Well, let me read the entire thing. North Carolina Poet Laureate Jaki Shelton Green will facilitate activity salon focused on what we keeps us exploring our human museums, using primary sources for an exploration of documentary poetry. As we think of ourselves as our own personal curators or anthropologists, we will explore what's in our human museums and how these primary sources, or what we keep, shape our lives, our values, and our creativity. Workshop participants are invited to bring artifacts, photos, heirlooms, recipes, diaries, documents, or stories that hold special meaning for them, that will serve as the prompts for the writing exercise and discussion that examines the many narratives, short stories, poems, memoirs, novels, and legacies that are hidden in full sight, just waiting to be written. So, yes.
I'm going to pretend I actually read that, but I always carry my primary source.
Yes.
I've been showing other people what was.
It's beautiful. I was looking at it early. It's beautiful.
And I'm gonna do this.
Ooh, I love you.
Where's the other one?
Yes, yes,
Another
yes.
hobby.
So I love the boot because most of the time when people give me this, I don't have anything to write about. I have nothing to say. I'm done. I'm like, girl, listen to your feet.
Okay.
Let the bottom of your feet tell you they've been some places with you. They know a lot about you. If they could talk, there are novels that will beget novels, and you will never run out of material. So I think that a lot of us kind of have this very westernized, Eurocentric version of writing exists, creativity is in some lofty external space out there, right? That we wait for the muse to bring to us. And I don't buy into that. We're all our personal curators. We're holding the stories. All of it is internal. And that's why I believe in exploring our human museums. And just like any other real museums, we're all made of these rooms. Some are public exhibitions, some are private, some have been archived, right? Some have been discarded, some are behind lock and key, some might need to be behind lock and key. But thinking about this exercise today, these writing prompts, actually, we're doing the short version of an all-day workshop that I do called Building Our Human Museums, where we would actually be making our human museums and going into all of those rooms. And I love doing this with creative makers because a lot of what's stored in those rooms is what's blocking, holding hostage, erasing, invisibling our creativity. I also do this exercise because I like to come from the perspective of, and this is a question I ask everyone, what is your relationship with your creativity? What is your relationship with your creativity? In the same way that we have relationships with our family, neighbors, friends, classmates, peers, workmates, what is your relationship with your creativity? So we're going to launch into this, and I'm going to start. So we're going to go around the room, and I'm going to tell a story to introduce myself. I'm introducing myself by way of this primary source, which is an object. I didn't bring it. I used to take it out for show and tell, and I lost it a few times.
Ooh.
But it kept coming back. Spirit sometimes brings stuff back to you and says, now put it away. So I don't bring it out anymore, but it's a story that really is the reason that I write, to be honest. It's what launched me as a writer. I never wanted to be a writer, ever. I wanted to be an oceanographer. I never wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a scientist. But this story that I'm going to tell you kind of started early in my life, this trajectory to tell, the power of utterance. My grandmother would tell me this story over and over again. The story is that and you got to listen carefully because there are a lot of grandmas. The story is that my grandmother's grandmother was the property of the white plantation owner who owned her mother, and her grandmother. My grandmother's grandmother was also his daughter. More specifically, my grandmother's grandmother was the property of the 3-year-old little white half-sister. So if you can wrap your brains and hearts around a 3-year-old actually owning a person, or anybody owning a person, but a 3-year-old. It was my grandmother's grandmother's responsibility and duties to make sure that this little girl was fed every day, was clean, her hair was combed, but more importantly, that she had a playmate. The white mother did not like my grandmother's grandmother for obvious reasons. And for years, she begged her husband to sell this child. But he would never sell her because it was his flesh and blood. Unbeknownst to any of the adults, unbeknownst to my grandmother's grandmother's mother and her grandmother, unbeknownst to the white man and woman, the white children had secretly taught my grandmother's grandmother how to read and write. It was the children's secret. The white woman was very adamant, this mother was adamant about education for her white children. Every day, she gathered her children into a room for the daily lesson. Every day, because the 3-year-old was required to be in that room, whatever the room was, my grandmother's grandmother would always be present. Who knows what she was doing? Maybe she was sitting by the hearth, stirring a pot of beans in the fire, or darning a sock. Who knows? But she was there. She was present. One day, the white mother calls on one of her children, and the child has forgotten or doesn't know the correct answer. All the children turn to my grandmother's grandmother, who is also the oldest. She's 9 years old at this time, but they know she knows the answer. And because they're all children, none of them understand the dire consequences of what's about to happen when it's discovered that this enslaved child can read and write. All the children are watching my grandmother's grandmother, and she blurts out the correct answer. On that day, it was discovered that this enslaved child could read and write. On that day, she was severely beaten, thrown out of the big house, the plantation house, where she shared a bedroom with the 3-year-old, forbidden to never cross the threshold of that house again. She was sent to live at the bottom of the plantation with an old enslaved woman who had really just outlived her service. They were waiting for her to become an ancestor. And now the white mother has her big opportunity to rid herself of this child. And the husband agrees, and he agrees to sell her. On the morning that her new owner is coming to fetch his new property, and he's riding a old wooden buck wagon pulled by horses. And as he's taken my grandmother's grandmother away on the back of the wagon, my grandmother's grandmother's mother is running behind that wagon, screaming and crying that they not take her child. While she's running in all of this billowing dust, old dusty dirt road, an old rusty nail falls from the bottom of the wagon. My grandmother's grandmother's mother picks up the nail and puts it in her pocket, and she keeps it. My family believes that what we keep keeps us. Many years later, my grandmother's mother was able to buy her child back. My grandmother's grandmother comes back to the family. And because she comes back to the family, that nail has been passed down on the matrilineal side of our family. At the age of 25, every female has received the nail. Well, I'm now 72, but I still have the nail. And I've decided that I'm not giving it up, that I'm going to be the keeper of the nail, though my daughter keeps saying, the nail. And I'm like, what nail? I don't know what you're talking about. But I've decided that I'm going to be the keeper of the nail. So my grandmother told me, she said, I tell you this story because someone who looked just like you nearly lost their life just because they could read and write. The power of utterance. She said, forget about being a scientist and oceanographer. She said, your job, little girl, is to tell this story, to write and to write other stories like this and to tell stories. That's your job. So that's really what led me to writing, the bidding of the ancestors, to do the work of those who've come before me. So my trajectory has been informed, directed, strengthened, resurrected by that nail. Whenever I have doubted myself, questioned myself, felt belittled, not enough, right? Or made to feel that in spaces, I always remember the nail. That nail represents fortitude and strength and determination. I'm only here because someone did not throw themselves over a cargo ship coming across the Atlantic. And I remember that. Mm-hmm. So that nail, what we keep keeps us, is what I keep. We're going to go around the room, and I would like for you to forget about my nail. I would like for you to think about something that you keep. It might be a recipe. It might be an object. It might be a piece of jewelry. It might be a document. It might be something found. You know, that's one thing I keep. I keep a lot of things. You know, I have my daddy's dog tags that have taken me down a rabbit hole of research around African American men in France in World War II. But these things that we keep are holding the stories that are asking us to write them if we ask them questions. So I want to go around the room and I want you to introduce yourself, tell us your name, and tell us something that is enduring to you that you keep. Can we start here? I'm looking at you, darling.
I'm not a keeper of artifacts very much, but I will say I have this picture up and I have one in my refrigerator.
And what's your name?
Deborah Williams. I have one in my refrigerator and I have one in my office, and it's of my grandmother. And she always had a big garden, huge garden. And she would plant huge sunflowers on the side. And I think she did it just for the beauty because they never ate the seeds, which is kind of interesting. And so I have this picture of her in her last house, sitting in a lawn chair reading the paper. And I remember after she moved to the seniors apartment, she'd say to me, "If only I could have a pot. If only I could have a place to grow things."
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I'm Paula Appling. I keep my hair. It's gotten cut a couple of times over the span of my life, but then I always grow it back. And lately I've been asked, your hair is a lot. Yeah, it is. You got a reason for that? Yeah. And I'll let it go.
It's your lot.
It's my life.
Paula, what's your
Thank
last
you.
name?
Appling.
Appling?
Thank you.
I'm Peg Regina, and I've actually done something similar to this. I got a chance to go teach English second language in Lithuania one summer, and I did a similar activity with people. It was fun. So I'm searching everywhere as you're talking, and I realized that in my little writing book here, I have this piece that I wrote, and it's spoken word, and I tried to get something to work for 10 years probably, for spoken word, because I just really so wanted to do it. And I couldn't get it, and it just wasn't quite right. And then my family, I've traveled a lot. So this little ring I picked up in Mexico, probably about 45 years ago. And see, I was tired of trying to store mugs and all the other things you bring back from trips. So I started to try to buy pieces of jewelry. Not expensive jewelry. I love stones that are natural to the area they come from, and they became my memories. So I carry, this piece is about my sister. So I carry my family with me in my writing, and in my travels and everything else, I have the jewelry to remember the stories that go with those.
Thank
And
you.
I'm Peg Regina, and I don't know where I said that.
You did. Thank you. Yes.
As a family, we're not a big artifact family.
And it could be a secret that you don't have to tell us the secret. It could be a secret. It could be
Yeah.
To tell
a
us.
memory.
Among my artifacts, I spent a career in the military. My first set of lieutenant's bars are very precious to me. My first airborne wings are very precious to me. My colonel's eagles are very precious to me. So my beginning and my ending in the military, I guess, are artifacts to me. Things that because in the military, stuff that's been in your uniform, different ranks and things like that. My husband and I, between the two of us, we've got like a Tupperware bin, but just some things that are super important. And some patches, my second ID patch, my combat patch, So.
What's your name?
Yes.
Jen, J.
Okay, thank you. Next.
I'm Melody Powell, and I'm kind of a keeper of things. I'm very OCD and neat and organized, but I really like to hold on to artifacts from my grandparents, great-grandparents. But I think my biggest thing is my grandfather was one of 9, and he was able, when his parents passed, to take their kitchen like tables, dining room table, and a sideboard, and tall china hut. And no one wanted it because 9 children had eaten there and it was just awful. And so he painstakingly restored it to just a pristine, beautiful condition. And when he passed, there's only 4 grandchildren, and 3 were not in a place where, well, my brother had a, beautiful mahogany, very expensive set, and my 2 cousins didn't have a place to have one. So I took that, and years later, we did the cushions on the bottom of the chairs and found the original packing slip where it was ordered by mail through the Sears and Roebuck catalog for less than $100 for all 3 pieces. And so it's just very amazing to me that I have that piece where I ate every single holiday meal growing up, and that my children were then able to have that. And when I divorced my first husband and I was on my own trying to find a house that I could afford on a teacher salary, the one thing I kept telling my realtors, I have to have a dining room. And our space is big enough to put this table, and he kept saying it's impossible. Like, you can't afford anything. You definitely can't afford a space. And then I was lucky enough to get a home that had this perfect little area at the table, just barely to, if you push a chair back too far, you would hit one of the other pieces. But he was able to come with me and is now in my new home with my husband. So
Thank you.
I'm Christiana Doucette, and I keep a lot of things. I think I'm a little bit sentimental. One of the big things that I keep is family stories. And several years ago, when my grandfather turned 80, I spent a year interviewing him every week and recording those interviews. And I've gone around and tried to get as many old family photos as I can. So I have a lot of artifacts in that space. But I think I was thinking about this as I was going along, I think I'm also the keeper of the family grief. And I would say that because my mom lost her brother when I was in, 2. And I don't know why this is, but my mom will talk to me about her brother, and my grandmother will talk to me about her son. But they will not talk to each other about this person that they both love so much. They'll only talk to me about it. And I've seen that happen in other places too with family. I don't know why. People will talk to me about that and not to each other. But that's why I say I can keep her family grief.
Thank you.
I'm Richard Allen Taylor, and I missed that assignment. So I thought, well, I'll just pull something out of my pocket and write about that. And I've already written about my keychain, so pass on that. But I found this little bottle of hand sanitizer and started thinking, expanding on your question, what is my relationship to hand sanitizer? So I think I'll try exploring that. And that would, might cover some hand sanitizer history, something about bacteria, hands, while we had this session with clean hands, and germs on our body, things like that. So that's what I plan to do.
Cool.
I'm Joshua Blankenship. I like objects a lot, just in general, but I'm not particularly super sentimental, and I'm a bit of a minimalist. So the objects that I have kept usually mean something. So most of them end up being clothing. So my grandmother was a clothes horse and always was dressed to the nines. We have lots of her scarves now. We have a lot of family in the military, so I ended up with a lot of their surplus. And I like old, well-made clothes that are made out of real materials. And my wife is a quilter, which means she's taken some of the military surplus that we receive from family members or the stuff that I've gathered over the years. And like our kids have quilts now that she's made out of these pieces. Because these my wife will tell you that textile and text come from the same root word, right? And so this idea of getting to touch these fabrics that feel good in your hands, that were made from the earth, and keeping them in our house and covering our kids up when they're sick or when I'm tucking them in bed or when we're snuggled up on the couch, and having all of these things around, or watching my wife now wear my grandma's scarves. And I can remember being little and sitting in church next to her, playing with her rings and feeling those scarves. And now my wife is wearing it. It's beautiful to have these tactile things that we can carry with us.
Beautiful. Thank you.
My name is Donna, and I did see the assignment. I brought 2 things with me. Actually 3, 2 photographs and a spoon. This spoon my mother gave me when we were in Russia. I did not look up the year. It was sometime in the 1990s. And we were on a tour. We had the good fortune to be invited on the tour. My mother was a good sport and decided to come to Russia with my academic group. I was not leaving her. And we had a dance troupe dancing with 3 of these. And they would clap them together to make music. And my mother, of course they were trying to sell them. My mother bought 3, 1 for each of her daughters. One of her daughters was on the trip with us, the other was not. And so I keep this on display in my home. My mother's no longer with me, but I've always had it on display coming back from that trip, and it's a memory of how brave she was to go to Russia with me and with a group of academics that she didn't know. And it's quite beautiful too. And when we think about Russia today, it's kind of bittersweet now.
I'm Mary Spearman, and I didn't see the assignment, but I think if I had to say anything that I collect or keep, it would be photographs and clippings. When my dad died, he had been a big keeper of the things. He had kept Indian arrowheads that he found in the fields of Pickens County plowing as a boy. And there's boxes of those, and I won't let anybody get rid of them. I even took one and made a shadow box out of it and made one to go in there for his memory. But for me, it's like the newspaper clippings or the personal photographs help me remember. And so I like to hold on to those. Recently, I had an uncle that died, and it was my mama's baby brother, and she's still living. And right before he died, he sent a picture of my mama and her sister and his mother. And he had been going through things like 30 minutes before he passed away with a massive heart attack. And he had sent that picture on to my aunt, and she in turn sent it on to me. And I said, it's like the pictures, they matter. Because that's your memories. There's my grandma, there's my mama, there's my aunt. And, without being on my memory list, I can't remember. So I think my thing is the family photos and newspaper clippings. So even have one story from When I was a child, there was a story about a great uncle that was in the paper. They called him the last mountain man. He was one of the last mountain men in Pickens County, and they had a big long write-up, and I still got that write-up. And it was published like in the 70s, but I love to keep those stories. So,
Thank you.
Well, I missed the assignment as well, but what I did, and I thank you, actually, I thank my good friend here for sharing your information, because I've been listening to a lot of the YouTube clips over the last few days. And seemingly every time there was one that resonated, that's, I've got something that I can set aside, or I know this, or I know that. And so this morning even, I went through, I have a what I like to call my ancestors room, and I actually went through and walked and did a video clip of that particular room. And in doing that, I had to laugh because there were so many things that were in there that I go in there every day, but there were a couple of things that just really stand out. So I'm the keeper of a lot of things for the family. I'm the eldest grandchild of maybe 10 of us. And so I feel like I have a charge to keep, I have, if you will. And so I keep the thing that I cherish the most, and I don't have it on today because this is an ironic piece. I keep my mother's ring, the mother's ring where you have the stones from each child. And so there are 3 of us, and I noticed one day that one of the stones, the birthstone, it was gone. And it broke my heart because that was the sister who I lost in 2008. And I said, so before any of these other stones get loose or whatever, let me take it off. I was wearing it on my ring finger. And so it's set aside in a special place so that I can get the other ones tightened up. My brother would be insulted if I had to tell him that I lost something else. And so I keep that. I also keep a pair of glasses that my father had, but from that I also keep something from him that is a piece of cultural history. It's a dream book that was used primarily in a lot of the Black communities, especially in the Northeast. And I asked my stepmother, I said, I'd like to have his glasses and I'd like to have his dream book. And on the spine of the dream book is his name. And then there are little notes inside of the dream book that are just, phenomenal, but it also helps me think about those mornings when he would say, especially on the weekends, what'd you dream? Come on, give me this. And then, in the dream book, you get a number. And that's where the original numbers were played before the lottery. And so, again, so there's a lot of that, and I cherish that. But I want to share that I have from my grandmother, who was my girl, I have a small bottle of Tussie deodorant. For those of you who know or know, I think some of you know. And what I do on occasion is to just go as a roll on. I just go and I move that little ball. Yeah, Grandma. But anyway, I have a lot more things on here, but thank you for jarring some of those memories. And my name is Rainey Parker Washington, and I'm the keeper of names.
Rainer.
I added Parker to my name, which is my mom's name. And I said I can be a lot of things in life, but I cannot forget that I stand on this Parker side of life. And after she transitioned, I adopted or added in to my name, Parker, and then Washington. So
Is it Rainer?
Rain, R-A-E-N.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for
Okay,
letting me share.
thank you. Okay.
I'm Kai, CHY. Sometimes known as Wayne Seaburn Chickens. I collect echoes. I go to estate sales, and they think I'm there to buy things. But I'm not. That's not. I'm there to collect the echoes that people are there. I collect the echoes of my family. I may be the reason why you did this assignment. I have written several pieces about the Museum of My Soul. I have written 4 pages since we've been sitting here. And not disrespecting all those things, the grief thing. But I am more than who was born in 1953.
Okay.
I appear to be a repository.
This.
I'm an ark. And I anticipate at some point the ark will be cracked open because people will need what I have to give. I might not be alive, I'm not certain. But I collect echoes. I got a whole bunch on this one right here. Very good echoes, I like it. And meeting your daughters. Yeah. Pretty interesting. I have a couple other fine ladies here to see today. Well, think you're all there. I hope you don't mind. I will not use them, no. But it's part of tapestry. I am a Celtic lineage, but a deep Native American bent. And my spirit animal is grandmother's cider. Ruby tapestries. Dream pictures.
Thank you.
Follow that.
My name is Karen Dynick, and I'm blessed to know Bill and a few other people around this table. I hold on to things. I had a very close relationship with my maternal grandmother, so things that belong to her are particularly treasured. And I have her engagement ring. I have several little artifacts that she had that I remember being on her dresser when I was growing up. I was the one who brushed her hair. She had hair past her waist and wore it braided in a little bun at the back of her head. But she would unfurl her hair, and that was my job, and I loved it, brushing grandma's hair. And I have many, many photographs of myself as a child and my grandmother, because she raised me pretty much till I was 9, and then part-time until I was a teenager. So she was more of a mother than my biological mother. So I had some very intense dreams about her, and when I wake up, I can smell her powder she used and her cheeks. And and I've written some poems about it. And as I get older, I have such crystal clear memories from childhood, and I make sure to write those down. I have many, many prose poems written, and I presented in Bill's workshops and everything, and those just mean so much to me. And my 30-year-old grandson, one of my 6 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren, he came with his family this summer and kind of downloaded me. I had to laugh because it was like, Grandma, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure. And then he asked me this amazing question. And so we just spent days and long into the night just talking with each other. And he asked me many, many, many questions about my family, my side of the family. So that was really special. So it was like, you were talking about preserving those memories, and that's what he's doing. And so I'm working on making sure that I keep those prose poems that I'm writing, plus those artifacts, and make sure that those go to him, because I always wondered when I go, who will be the keeper of all of that? And he seems like the natural choice, because he's the one who really cares and wants to know those things. My son could care less, and he's my only child, so it will be Joe. So anyway, and I have a picture of, one of my pictures is of myself and my grandmother on the farm in Minnesota, and I was maybe about 6 or 7, and I had long hair at the time too, and we would wash our hair and let it dry naturally outside. And so it's a picture of me holding up, she grew roses around the house, and I picked a rose and was holding up to her, and she was smelling it, and we were both laughing, and I love that picture. And if I was way younger, I would blow that picture up and hang it on the wall. But Anyway, there's a lot of special pictures, but that's the one that stands out to me the most. And then I have one of her and my grandfather when they were, it was probably about in 1921 or 2, when they were courting. And they both look happy, and I never saw them look happy with each other. He was relegated to the upstairs bedroom, and she had the downstairs bedroom. They, they didn't speak, so, whatever happened to cause that, But I love that picture, because they both look so young and carefree and happy. So that's, I keep things, I remember things, and I write things down, so those things are very important.
Thank you so much.
My name is Becky Eichelboom, and I was going to say bracelets, but I decided to do my true love, and that's lighthouses. I have a lot of them. If people can't get, I don't know what to get you for your birthday or for Christmas, and they say, oh, lighthouses. So I have a lot of them, and I enjoy them, and they bring out the best in me, and that's all I got. Thank you.
I have the quilt that my great-grandmother made for me when I was born, and she quilted out of necessity. She was born in the early 1900s, and quilting kept her family alive, kept them warm in the tiny farmhouse where she raised many children. And the quilt I have is the remnant of the 70s polyester era. So you can imagine the blues and greens and oranges, and it is cheerful and wonderful. And I keep that quilt because it reminds me of the strength of the women who came before me.
Thank you. Your name?
Danielle Verwers.
Danielle. Okay.
Yes. I'm Ann Humphreys from Columbia. 3 of us drove up. I'll go ahead and feature these boots.
Yes.
Which they're Lucchese boots, which are I'm from Texas originally. I've been in South Carolina since early 70s, and I'm married a Bishopville boy. But all of my blood family has gone back to Texas. So she surprised me with these beautiful boots. And they were expensive boots, and they're going to be in my will. I'm not doing anything to move them on out. They can be, my husband said, those are looking a little ragged. I know. Isn't that great? Anyway, I wear them for good luck. It makes me stand straighter, and I feel confident coming through them.
Cool beans. Thank you. Glynis.
Oh man, this already has been the most wonderful Valentine's Day. I'm so emotional, y'all. Oh, thank you, Jackie. I'm a maximalist. Meet your minimalist.
Opposite ends.
And but everything I have has meaning in my home. I'm the kin keeper. I am the 4th child, so I don't know what that means, but as the poet, I keep stories. I do keep grief as well, Christiana, much to my but I have a picture of my parents' 1954 last graduating class of Fountain Inn Colored High School, Rosenwald School. If you don't know what that is, just look it up. And so my mother and my father are on the front row. My mother's waist is like 17 inches with her saddle off. I mean, she's fly. And my dad's even, he's fly too. But just how everybody in that picture, there's like 26, I think, they're all poor, but you could not tell it by this picture. Just that way of showing up with, how we do because of so many reasons. So this has sparked a project that I'm doing called the Rosenwald Project. So I'm interviewing all the 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds who are still living right now. I'm going to their homes, getting pictures and getting their stories. So I brought today the last elder that I have. One has died since I interviewed, so time is of the essence. But Doris Booker is one of the people who graduated from the Rosenwald School. So I just don't think there's enough time to write about everything that I want to write about. But I am a keeper of my maternal grandmother's foot pedal singer sewing machine, the milk churn, and quilt from my grandmother and my great grandmother. And those are the only things from my mother's side that are left. And I had told her when I lived in Nashville, I said, Mom, I'm not trying to be morbid when you pass. These are the things that I want. And about 3 months later, she just showed up at my door with all of these things. And she said, I know that you will make good use of this. So, those are the things that I hold dear. And that's where my strength comes from. And when you come to my townhome, I've painted these rocks with all my maternal lineage, their names. It's Jeanette, and not my mother, because she's still living. She's 89. But Katie and Hannah, the line goes back that four generations. And so that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
I'm gonna roll over.
So she could be in the-
ladies,
yes,
so
so she
I'm
could
on
be
the
on
right side of the camera.
Yes.
So I had to remember all the camera equipment. I'm Amy Randall. So I forgot my thing, but the thing that I would have brought had I remembered, my daughter is named after my husband's grandmother, Margaret Moody Watson, and she was a seamstress. And when my mother-in-law was passing, she was giving me, all kinds of things. And I got Margaret's wedding ring. But the thing I care more about is I got her thimble. And, her mother was a seamstress. And so the roots of that simple thimble means more to me than the wedding ring.
Beautiful. So we're gonna rock and roll with the time that's left. So I always eat up the time doing this, but to me it's worth it. It's very much worth it because I don't think we think about, because we never unpack our human museums. We don't think about those rooms too much. I wish we were doing the full day exercise because it's a deep dive. It's a fun dive though. However, so I just retired from teaching documentary poetry at Duke at the Center for Documentary Studies. I did not know I was a documentary poet until I started teaching it. I just knew what I wrote. And, as a teaching poet, because there's a difference, as a teaching poet, I'm always immersed in the assignments myself. So how many people are familiar with documentary poetry?
Just because of you.
Okay. So the short, dirty, quick answers, documentary poetry uses primary, I'm not going to say secondary. I got chided recently for using the word secondary. For primary sources, and I'm going to say secondary sources too, so sometimes sources are secondary. But primary sources that reframe, retell a historical, current, or personal event using poetics. Documentary poetry uses poetics to reframe a historical, current, or personal event. So we know tons of documentary poets from World War II who wrote about World War II, who wrote about all of the big wars. Natasha Trethewey, one of our former U.S. poet laureates, went down to New Orleans when she wasn't a poet laureate then, but she went because she was going home with a camera crew and went through neighborhoods and made video poetic. So the other fun thing now is poem films. She made this amazing film that was based on the things that were lost. She went to her cousin's house. They were finding, like letters and bills and mail that was in the backyard, dirty, wet, photographs that were destroyed. Patricia Smith went down because she was fascinated with the story of the elders who were left in that rest home. I don't know if you all remember this newsreel. The staff just left them. And she was fascinated by all of these elders who died, but she felt like she really couldn't tell their story. Who was she to tell this story? So she went down there and she interviewed the family members to get more personal information. So Uncle Todd died with his glasses hunched up on his nose with his Bible in his hand. That's the way we'd find him when we'd go to visit him. Fast asleep with his glasses falling off and his Bible in his hand. And it was one woman, one man after another, these stories that the family could issue in this information, the documentary primary sources of information. So we all just name some primary sources. And we could just go on and on and on and talk about how primary sources inform our lives. Those quilts you were talking about that your wife has, I like to say upcycled, refurbished, for a younger generation. But they're holding history. I also like to think that all of these things that we keep are portals. They're also portals. Those photographs. How many people have photographs in your family that literally haunt you because you don't know the story? Photographs in your family that may literally haunt you because you don't know the story or the truth of it. There's a photograph in my family of my mom and 4 women, and it's a cute little sepia rectangle small photograph that was taken in the 40s. My mom died in 2022 at the age of 106. I always wondered about that photograph. These women are looking directly into the camera in pastels. It's a sepia print, but you can tell they have on pastels, and they're posing. And there's my mom at the edge of the picture, almost like she's trying not to be in the photograph, and she has on black. They all in pastels. She has on a black suit, with a teeny tiny peplum waist with a huge white gardenia and white gloves. So it's like the white gloves and the white gardenia just. I interviewed all those women because I wanted to know what's the story. I interviewed them individually. They all had a different story. I had a tea for them. They all had a different story. As a matter of fact, they started arguing with each other. Well, I'm older than you. Well, we were at a wedding. I'm like, I wouldn't have worn black back then to a wedding. It was like, and I'm like, well, maybe you all went to a wedding, Mama went to a funeral, y'all hooked up afterwards. I will never know the truth. But as a writer, we tell the truth by which we know it, and that's it. Every truth of those women is correct, right? Every story, I can't say your story is not, every story is the true story. So when we think about the things that we write, I don't deal with truth too much in writing because it's, or memory. Memory is very nebulous and dangerous sometimes. Though we write out of containers of memory all the time, these things that we keep. What we're going to do now for the rest of the period is we are going to not write about what you just talked about, but I would like for that ancestors room that Rain talked about to write about her. Bill's necklace would write about him. Your grandmother brushing your grandmother's hair, the brush would write about you. These things that we keep are keeping us. They know our stories. They're holding pieces of us. I also believe in the biology of objects, right? The DNA of objects. They're not just things. They have their own unique DNA. All of those military badges and decorations, right? They're holding stories. They're holding energies from another time. So that's the assignment, is allow the dream book to write about you. Allow that grief to write about you. That 1954 Rosenwald School photograph, what would it say to Glennis? And one way I always say, what is your from whence you enter point, is you might start with questions. What questions? When I'm doing documentary work, poetry work, I have lots of questions for the primary source. What are the questions? Sometimes the questions are the poem itself. What are the questions you have for this primary source? Intentionally abstract, yes. Any questions? Okay. The hand sanitizer, Richard, is going to write about you. I like that. Those artifacts. What does that recipe that came through some ancestor's pocket through Ellis Island that you're still making generations later, that you're making for a family dinner? What does that recipe have to ask you? And also think about, when you think about documentary poetry, thinking about the poet as journalist, the poet as reporter, when the poet becomes historian, when the poet becomes agitator. Because when you kind of change roles, you're blending different aesthetics, right? With these different roles. And when I say agitator, a lot of people go, oh no, I don't want to agitate. Well, remember, on your wash cycle, it's the agitation cycle where our clothes actually get clean. So agitate is not a negative way of being in the world, but how do you bring in new information? That opens up people to listening differently. Yeah, I've done a lot of work with the Rosen Walls in North Carolina.
I think this is the next 10 years.
Of course. Because there's so much out there. And people don't even know what they have. They don't know. Is it okay if we go to 3:45, you all? Is that okay with everyone?
So we'll give them how long to write?
Let's stop at 3:30.
Perfect, so till 3:30 to write.
No, we've already done Valentine's before I came here, so. we're good.
And if anybody needs it, the restroom is just on the other side of this wall. Help yourself to water.
Did you bring
Or
some-
refreshments.
Did you bring a camera? Amy, did you bring some camera equipment?
I brought the video camera.
Oh, for Zoom.
Yeah, so we're live on YouTube right now.
That's right, okay.
You too much. Oh, this is the bowl. Oh, they're beautiful. Oh, I would cherish these. Thank you. You're too much. How we doing? Okay.
Ready? You can stop.
You stuck?
No, I can stop anytime.
Do we have some time?
I do want a picture with you, Glennis. Okay, that'd be all right. Yes. Okay. And did anyone take your place as a documentarian poet?
No, they didn't feel that.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah. I tried to get some colleagues to teach it, but nobody was interested. They'd never had this class there. They reached out to me about 10 years ago and asked me if I would do it. So for years, I taught documentary poetry, but as a consultant to the staff. I would work with the documentary filmmakers and documentary photographers that they would bring in to do residencies. So when they decided to offer it as a class, they went, well, we know we can do it. So, yeah, I loved it, but it was time.
You're 72. I'm 72 too. My birthday is in October. When is your birthday?
My birthday is Juneteenth.
Is it? Oh, 1953.
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know if you were housed in English or journalism or history.
So my background is in economics. I don't have any degrees in creative writing or English or it's English and economic development. That's what my master's is in.
But you made it happen.
Yeah.
You were supposed to come, I think, last year, but the weather prevented it.
It was that or I got sick. I forget which one. It was that or I forget what happened.
Was that the Joy Day?
Last year, they invited me to come, but either I got sick or
For the archery.
something happened.
Well, the one that I had for the piece was sold out.
Oh, I remember that one. Oh, yeah, for the Peace Center, it was canceled. But I was invited
You
by
invited
the
to
Poetry
Poetry
Society.
To Greenville? Was it Greenville?
I don't remember
Was it
where, I just knew it was it was Charleston.
Charleston.
I think I got sick.
I can't remember that.
Where is your family from?
Orange County. That's Chapel Hill, Hillsborough.
So you didn't wander too far afield.
I got kicked out of public schools in North Carolina and I landed in a Quaker boarding school in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Then I went to college
Which one was
in
that?
the George School.
I think I tried to get the girls to go and
was
get
it
them,
good?
but they didn't take
You see
them.
that one coming?
They got into
No,
New
I see the
Hampshire.
text right now.
Oh, for sure, they didn't take them. But
I'm
Okay.
too.
Now I see the icons,
They got a
yes.
full ride to the soccer.
Yeah.
But we then decided I just couldn't let them go.
Glennis, you could let me know.
Yeah,
I didn't know
no, it was the George School. I was trying to remember.
I'm trying to think who was headmaster back then, because now they have an African American headmaster
Okay,
who is from North Carolina.
okay.
He's from
This
Eastern.
this was in the this was 2000 and.
He was a
Could've been 2000.
headmaster in Raleigh,
Okay.
Ravenscroft.
Oh, yeah, that's where the girls are gonna go. Is he there now?
No, he's at DeGeorge School.
He's at the church.
He's amazing. I just want to take a picture.
Oh.
I'm a campaign for her to be a future South Carolina poet laureate.
Yes.
Well, I did the judge. How many years?
That I know it's 4 now.
1, 2, 3, beautiful.
Will you take one with mine?
I'd be happy to.
And then mine.
Of course.
All the campers.
I have a teenage daughter, so,
So
I'm
you know how
basically
you know.
a pro.
Yeah. You've had training.
Yes.
You can put it. Say when.
Oh, I already got it.
She already got us.
All right.
Both of them.
1, 2, 3.
I can only lunge like this for so long.
I know. Testing your
My
quads,
thighs, my
right?
quads.
Did you get mine?
Although I feel like I've been ice
That was
skating
mine.
lately.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry again.
Another one?
Yes, another.
Can we get one with my camera?
Oh, yes.
Or you can send it to me.
Pardon me. Oh,
I can send
I don't have access to your.
Glennis can send it to me.
Oh,
send it to her.
Okay.
Yeah, Glennis can
Lovely.
send it to me.
Yeah, I'll text her.
Don't you fall over your back. I'm loving the cowboy boots.
And the horse scarf.
Yes, I was, and the horse scarf.
Thanks.
Are people done? Everybody?
I'm ready.
Are we ever done?
Question.
Well, there is that.
Philosophical
The
question.
hardest thing is ending a poem because
This is
I feel like it's
Well, it's process, you know.
it's process, yes.
This gathering, our coming together is not about product, but more about process, just having yet another prompt, yet another way of thinking about, because I still come back to what is your relationship with your creativity.
Well, you turned it on its head because I thought we were going straight to the object, and then it was like when you said, "Oh," like I got tears in my eyes. Like, oh my God, I never thought about that.
We're dating.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
very powerful.
Yeah, what is your relationship? And I've had, you know, like at writers' retreats, I've had women just lose it when I've asked that. Just, and they're like, we broke up. She won't talk to me.
Oh,
She totally abandoned me, you know?
yeah.
I finished my doctorate over the summer, and there was a dark year. There was a dark year where between work and we're trying to finish all of high school, the dissertation and all of that, it was very dark, and I felt like estranged from creativity, which was sad.
Yeah, because you're so in that left side of your brain with the dissertation, right?
To be and every time I wrote, I would have to sit down with that part, and it's a very uncreative way of writing.
Yes, yes.
Except when you're doing the research as the poet. You know what I mean? Except when you're doing the
that's
research as the creative maker.
Yes.
But a doctorate.
That's straight.
I would say
Traditional.
my work is around implementing a poetry workshop with high school students who have disabilities.
Okay.
And it fed me artistically, but like the creative side of myself to express. Like it was joyful to see them, but having to write it all up, it was daunting.
I bet.
One year she swept all the awards in South Carolina.
Did you?
Yes, she did. I'm glad she's out of it. So now the rest of us can have
You're
a turn.
back. You're back. I thought about going to get a dissertation, and then my daughter said, "No, that your MFA almost killed you." And two, they were like,
Unless-
Write books or dissertation. I'm like, write
Right.
books.
I mean, unless you want to be at the academic level, period, teaching, you don't need an MFA. I mean, people would argue me, but that's why you really need an MFA.
I don't even know
Is
if
to
you,
be
I don't even know if you need a doctorate.
an academic.
But the only reason I went back, I had already had my career professional. I only went back for me. Like I went back for an MFA for me. Like I was in my 40s. Everybody was in there, you know.
Exactly.
That was different. I was like geeking out. Like,
Right.
oh, I get to geek out.
Yeah, I was the oldest person, one of the oldest people in my master's program. But it was economics, it was totally different.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know that about you, economics. Look
Yeah.
at you. Both sides of your brain
oh yeah,
away.
I've heard about people who, there's a poet in Aiken, Roy Seeger, and he says a poem isn't really just an equation.
Yeah.
You're trying to communicate as much as you possibly can in the most beautiful, eloquent, simplistic way. And I'm like, I see the economics.
I see that too. What I'm kind of seeing poetry now as a puzzle.
yes.
Like, and it's a puzzle, and it's like a puzzle that I don't know how it fits. Like, so that's why it's always engaging. Like even if I'm the same subject matter, I'm still trying to figure it out in a way that, and it probably is an equation, but I don't relate to mathematics. So but the puzzle part lately is like, oh, I'm trying to.
It's the problem solving.
I mean, I think it could be both, right? It's problem solving. Yeah, both ends.
Okay, my friends.
Nobody. We respond. We do that.
So I can do, Chuck Davis would say,
Yes. Dear Chuck.
Amen. He would say, I go.
I go.
So, my friends, what was this like? Yes.
When you said to write from the perspective of the brush, it was very cool because it brought back so many memories, and I was just even remembering how the sun was coming in through the window at this time of day when we do this, and all of these things, and how, you know, the little girl is picking up the brush, and the brush feels the life and the love flowing through it as the little girl brushes the grandmother's hair, and all of that was just coming back to me. So I think this is a seed of what will be, but yes, it was wonderful.
Good. Well, I hope you have lots of seeds, and they're fertile. So this is giving agency, you know, to think about giving agency to these things that you keep, you know, because there are stories inside of them. You know, it's not always about us. It's always about us. But if we can be quiet and be still, we will find the more that we're looking for. Like many of us as creative makers are always like, there's something nagging at me that it's like a scratch you can't get to. It's like an itch you can't get to, right? There's something I'm supposed to be writing about. But sometimes if we pay attention to what's around us and can tap into that world instead of looking outside of that world, there's so much material right there. Talk about agency. I'm going to tell this real quick. So I did, for years and years and years, I used to teach this poetry, it wasn't poetry, I used to do this genealogy writing class for Duke Continuing Ed. And we would do it every summer down at the beach. Every summer they would rent the place down at Salter Path.
Are we talking North Carolina Beach?
Yeah. Anyway, it's the Episcopal Center. It's a fabulous center where you can have activities and retreats. So first day, this woman walks in dragging like 6 huge Louis Vuitton trunks. And she had all of this memorabilia. She was like wealthy, old money Texas. And she had all these things. Then there was a woman who came with a turkey baster that her mother had hidden all her jewels in when she became a certain age, and she was afraid that people would rob. So the jewels, when she died, they found them in the basement in this den full of dust, turkey baster, like all of these diamonds and
Wow.
bracelets and necklaces she wanted her daughters to have. Then there was a guy who came with his ancestors' teeth. He collected all their
Wow.
teeth
I seen that documentary.
and their glasses. There was a woman who sat in the back of the class, and they were all obnoxious Duke alums. And I say that in a loving way, obnoxious. But it was more about, I'm blue blood through and through, and I got the paper to tell it, to show it. That was the woman with the Louis Vuitton trucks with all of this silver and stuff. And my question was like, okay, so you got all this stuff. Now what? Because she had no stories. She had not one story of one piece of the Sterling collection that she had now inherited. Not one story. Not even who it belonged to. There was a woman in the back of the class who said nothing. For 2 days, she just said nothing, but just feverishly writing, turning like beet red. And I was kind of worried about her. She never looked up. She was just writing away. And on the third day, in the middle of the class, we did a visualization exercise. Write about the first kitchen you can remember. Who was there? What happened in that kitchen? Right? What conversations do you remember in that kitchen? She jumped up in the middle of the class, ran out crying. Well, I ran after her, but I couldn't find her. And it was about lunchtime. I found her at lunch. She was at the registration desk checking out. And I said, "Are you okay?" I said, "You're leaving?" And she started laughing. She said, "Not for a bad thing." She said, "When you made us do the visualization exercise," she said, "I'm an orphan." She said, "Both of my parents were killed in an airplane crash." She said, "My grandmother and great-grandmother raised me." She said, I know, but I don't remember all of that. I was a little girl." And she said, "Then they both died, and I ended up in foster care, and I don't know." She said, "When I visualized the kitchen," she said, "there was a flour sack in the corner with the name of the meal and the town." She saw it. She ran out and she called the police department in this small town in Alabama and said, "Can I talk to the chief of police? This is going to sound really crazy, but I got to talk to him." And she said, "My name is so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm however many years old. My grandma, So she told him the whole story. He said, "There is an old woman here who would know who you are." She got on a plane and she went to that town.
What?
In her visualization, she kept seeing these big brown hands holding hers, making water biscuits, like helping her sift the flour and everything. And she said there was a little black girl in the corner. She could see this little black girl on the floor playing, but she was helping this woman make the biscuits. Come to find out, this was their housekeeper who had raised her most of her life. That little girl was now an adult, her age, and she was able to put. So do not discount these writing exercises, right? And when we invite and give agency to these inanimate objects, to us, you know what I mean? They're just objects. But again, the biology of objects, what are they holding? What are they keeping? She saw the town's name on the flour sack. And I've never forgotten that story. And she called me a few days later and told me the whole thing about going down there, the whole thing. But anyway, I just wanted to say that because we don't know when we start digging what we're going to dig up. Creativity is a powerful, powerful archaeological dig and anthropological dig. And we're the curators of all of that. So anybody want to share what they wrote or any feedback?
That's powerful though, Jackie. That is a powerful story.
Yeah. I hadn't intended to tell it, but it seems like it needed to be
What
told.
time is the reading? Is that
At 4.
Oh,
So that we have to flip this room, so that's why we have to go kind of fast. Yes. Okay.
Okay, this is a spoon. And this is the spoon's point of view. Songs of silver. I remember my early days in the land of fine appliances. Remember the eager touch of the old woman when she was a young wife. The long days of touching and holding her food. I was a favorite spoon, and the envy of all the other flatbread. The occasional shining of the silver because the occasional shining of silver because we were quality grade silver plating. There was that time she used a chemical cleaner, yuck. There was the day the woman didn't meet her oatmeal. Chaos. I was so afraid of no longer being useful. There was no one eating. Mad chaos. People were everywhere, getting the kitchen floor filthy. Strangers in the house, not the good kind. A piranha frenzy of madness. Then came a different man who picked me up with reverence. He seemed to be looking at his distorted reflection, but I could tell he was looking beyond the present moment. He put me back, and that was sad because, but he returned. And I wanted him to take me to a quiet place where maybe he'd eat some oatmeal or a quiet flatbread door. But he held me like the man who forged me. There was fire in his hands that bent me. And without even polishing me, he made me into a necklace, placed me on a strong chain, and wore me in the shower. He placed me on he brushed me. I was recopying that. I loved the warmth of the water and the smell of volatile soap. He brushed me and cleaned me without abrading my patina. And I hugged close to his warm chest over a sure and steady heart. And I listened to him sing, something that reminded me of the way the old woman used to sing. At last the shower ended and the towel was dry, and he pulled on a t-shirt that said something that couldn't be read because he's that way, he's the keeper of echoes. And last night, we sat under his reading lamp in his easy chair, and I heard the warmth of his heart and the warmth of his heart. Home again.
Thank you. Okay, we have time for about one more. And remember, it was not about having a product or finished anything, but really just another way of thinking about how we go down the rabbit hole with the things that we keep, these things that are in full sight. If we can just see them. Yes.
This one's not finished, really. So I was writing about grief. You said right from the perspective of grief. I cannot be held by the hard. Those hard surfaces repel me, that you, child, with your unkept care, with your love for the roots of things, you could hold me. Those deep eyes are wells I pour into. When wood rubs together too hard and too long, the heat hardens the surface. There are rough grooves that channel me away from heartwood. But you are a willow, dipping your roots into their wells. They trim your hair in baskets and leave it in containers. Your surface an aspirin to their pain. Some would like to make you whips, to crack, to slash, to bleed each other. But you are made to carry and to soothe, and in the thin moaning of the wind, to dance.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So thank you, everyone who leaned into this and trusted the process, trusted me to guide you into this process. I really appreciate this engagement, and I hope that it feeds you in some kind of way. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jaki.
Yes.
Oh, are those your cards? Sorry.
Jackie, do you want one of these? She has a Be Good for Renee Good.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so
I'm gonna read my poem for her today.
Well, you're great.
Oh, thank you. I'll show you the cover to this is my second book. I don't have, but that's,
yes.
it's about growing up on a horse.
Okay.
And this is by Class Publishing in Pawleys Island.
Okay. My blind obsession.
That's all right, yeah.
My blind obsession.
I'm sorry, I don't have enough to give you. They're selling. Yeah, you have to sell.
Oh, that's good. It's a good thing, Anne.
Thank you. And I have notes on the Rosenwald School that I'm got to get back to it for one poem, just one poem.
Everybody, if I can get you all to rise, because we need to rearrange the room. So I'm going to bring in some snacks. And then, if we can get a couple people to push the tables to the side, we're going to turn this into more like an auditorium with the podium at the front here.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. I'll let you your dissertation. I present the machine that's on
I'm gonna put it up. I'll put it up here for now. Thank you, Richard.
Yes, I think if you.
This is what yes.
I knew this. I really knew this. Like this.
That was beautiful. That I was really excited to go there. I was really already good. And it was like that was for her to do it like that. Yes, all the way to the bear.
And I just remember, but when I see this, so I agree with like, and so that's just the right word. Yeah.
I just lost my husband a couple months ago. I'm trying to visit. Well, need more? Yeah, this is the only second time I've been. And, I know Sarah's over there, so I did. And not good at it. But I will be. Did you get some good notes? Yes. So I'll have our paper. I mean, I just wrote about my husband. That helps me, that they just
But, you know, it's just something. And I thought about
I'm just poking around. I wanted to make sure I got the right from
Joshua.
she has a table and there were a lot of I'm sorry.
You're right, yeah.
Yes, I have to.
You did that for me. Oh, yeah.
And let me know if it's better to purchase online. Okay, shall we?
I think there's a bathroom here. Have you seen to the bathroom?
Yes, I'm gonna show you.
We've been through the front of the bathroom. Okay.
Well, we did ours last night. We were supposed
I was telling you. Yes. We got water. It's not, and you try to go out there, the money was, that's like, but yeah. No, it's not. I did send a note. So. Oh, no. It was. Yeah. I just know that's I like. On the car, kids are over here. Really started. Did that take your place? No, you did not. Everybody grab a snack and a drink and grab a seat, please. You know?
Woo, snacks. I always say this to my friends. He says, I love you, I say I love you more. And he gets caught off guard because it was a competition. So today I had problems just here. That's my thing. So just go it's like the shoes are a company called Football, and I heard like 30% Canadian shoes. How they like very serious. No, but I like those outlets. I like to say, but they have. It's kind of like they have outlets, ones are like more it's not yes, I did see your phone. And your wallet. I yell at myself.
It's pretty wild in here in these chairs.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Glennis Redmond, and those of you who took the workshop, wasn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Jackie. Oh, I am gonna be up all night. I'm gonna blame you. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna text you at 3 a.m. But it was really, really powerful. And so thank you for setting the tone for, I think, Valentine's Day, right? Like, what better way to love than to love through these relics, these objects, our memories? And I feel like that just struck this wonderful chord. Also, wonderful for Black History Month, 14th day of Black History Month, right? Because history is so important. And in a time, I'm not going to preach, but I'm just saying at a time where things are being eradicated and erased, we must remember. And that's because Black History Month, right? It's Black history is American history. It's all of our history. So we want to thank you, Jackie, for just leading the charge and doing it so with some, what Maya Angelou said, with some grace and some style too. Just my dear, dear sister friend, you all, I have a few notes. I wanted just to say that this week, you know, we want to thank the Poetry Society of South Carolina. This organization is near and dear to our state. I'm going to be your MC for tonight, and I want to give a round of applause to Amy Randall, who did all the snacks, the technology. She's taking pictures. She's just everywhere, all at once. She is our upstate liaison. I also want to thank Jim Lundy. I don't know if he's watching through the interwebs, but thank you for your leadership in all of the hard work that you do. And thank you for all of you people who are there on camera land. All right. So thank you for joining us virtually. I feel like that. Remember when she used to go, do you guys know who I'm like? I see Susie and Bobby and who was it? I can't remember. It was a preschool program. And I always she never said Glennis. It was Romper Room. It was Romper Room. Some of the young people are like, huh? Yeah, it's going on and off. It's going on and off. But before I give the introductions, we have an opening reader and our feature reader. I would like to give you a couple of dates to think about or save. On March 14th, in this very room, we will be meeting again, and Drew Lanham is going to be our featured speaker. Claire Bateman is going to be our opener, along with Mandy Blankenship. So you guys put that on your calendar, spread the word, okay? And then on April 11th, we are going to have